From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordo, and this is your News 8 Daily for Wednesday, March 4th. It is super rainy outside. You may have been woken up by the storms overnight, too. These showers this morning, they're going to stick around, have scattered showers throughout this day, and then storms this evening. Honestly, we have so much rain out there. We're getting a lot of ponding issues on the roads this morning, and we're warming up. We're going to be near record temps by the end of this week. New on Daybreak, explosions filled Iran's capital today as fighting involving the United States and Israel enters its fifth day. Israel targeted Iranian leadership and security forces with strikes in the Iranian capital of Tehran. Iran responded with missile barrages and drone attacks on Israel and across the region. Israel's defense minister says his country's forces plan to kill whoever Iran picks to be the next supreme leader. He posted on X today that every leader appointed by the Iranian terror regime will be the target for elimination. Israel killed the 86-year-old supreme leader in a strike on Saturday that started the war. The Pentagon has released the names of 4 of the 6 U.S. service members killed by a drone strike in Kuwait. They're Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant First Class Nicole Armour, Sergeant First Class Noah Tejans, and Sergeant Declan Cody. The Pentagon says the 4 soldiers were part of an Armory Reserve unit from Iowa. The State Department has ordered non-emergency staff and their families working in 2 U.S. consulates in Pakistan to leave the country due to safety concerns. Pakistan shares a long western border with Iran. At least 10 people were killed Sunday after protesters tried to storm the U.S. consulate in Karachi, which is Pakistan's largest city. Meanwhile, new satellite images showed the extent of damage to some U.S. military bases in the Gulf caused by Iranian strikes. CNN is reporting that the U.S. consulate in Dubai was hit by a suspected Iranian drone, and so was a CIA station in Saudi Arabia. No injuries were reported. The defense ministry in Qatar says an Iranian missile hit the U.S. military base in that country, but caused no casualties. Some Americans who are stranded in the Middle East say the State Department is not offering help to evacuate the area. The State Department is urging Americans in 14 countries to use commercial travel to leave, but airlines have canceled hundreds of flights in the region. Reed Binion reports.
It's a lot of different things here that need to happen in order to move people.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Tuesday addressing the issue of Americans stranded in the Middle East as the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war with Iran expands across the region.
It'll be a variety of methods: charter flights, military flights and transports, expanded commercial opportunities, and in some cases land routes that will allow them to go to neighboring countries.
The Trump administration facing criticism, including from some stranded Americans. President Donald Trump suggesting Tuesday there was no evacuation plan in place because the war unfolded too quickly. Officials are urging Americans to contact the State Department if they are stuck overseas and need help.
It all starts by knowing that where you are and how we can get a hold of you.
This comes amid continuing attacks on Iran and more retaliatory attacks by Iran on Israel and against countries throughout the Middle East, including a U.S. consulate in Dubai and an airbase in Qatar, where officials say an Iranian ballistic missile struck the largest U.S. military installation in the region. There were no casualties. Meanwhile, sources say the CIA is working to arm Kurdish forces who have operations along the Iraq-Iran border with the goal of sparking an uprising in Iran. I'm Reed Binion for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
A couple from Indiana stuck in Dubai says they're trying to make the best of the situation while they're there. News 8's Malia Van Ostrin talked to them and another man from Indiana who now lives in Dubai.
Well, from a travel agent stranded overseas to a man trying to get back home to his wife who is sheltering in place in Dubai, the escalating conflict is creating very real problems for Hoosiers. Both men that I talked to say the past few days have been filled with uncertainty. For Eric Foster, a Cloverdale, Indiana travel agent currently in Dubai, what was supposed to be a trip on a cruise he won has turned into disappointment and an unexpected wait.
Got here Saturday and walked into the hotel. And when we hooked up to Wi-Fi, got the notice that the cruise was canceled and to shelter in place.
Foster is at an all-inclusive hotel about 4 miles from the airport, and he says it's fully staffed and service so far is great. He says he and his wife are trying to relax to make the best of it.
Next thing we know, we do hear some explosions, and it shook the place, and we both looked at each other thinking, is that what we think we just heard? And it was. And so we immediately were on high alert then and didn't get much sleep that night.
Foster says despite what happened, he still feels safe and says it almost feels like nothing happened. But he does say there's a heightened sense of alert as jets constantly fly over the hotel. Meanwhile, John Taylor, who is originally from Indiana but now lives in Dubai, is thousands of miles away in Las Vegas on business. He's supposed to fly back to Dubai on Thursday. Taylor's apartment is near where the attacks happened. His wife is sheltering in place after hearing explosions over the weekend.
My wife's been a trooper, frankly. She's not been real concerned. Her biggest concern was making sure she had enough food because they told us to shelter in place, but she told me she had a month's worth of food, so she wasn't really concerned.
Taylor has worked in the Middle East since 1984 and says he's not surprised that things are back to business after missile strikes. He says the country is extremely concerned about their reputation and will most likely make repairs soon.
Tourism drives Dubai. So they'll want to get things fixed just as quick as possible, just to make sure that it's not noticeable, that type of thing. So it'll be extremely quick, and there's a large labor force there that can make it happen.
Taylor says his airline hopes to have a nearly normal schedule on Wednesday. He says if he's not able to get a direct flight, he'll probably fly to a nearby airport and drive the rest of the way to Dubai. As for Hoosiers still stuck in Dubai, they're patiently waiting for things to get better.
Nobody is panicking. Everybody's trying to make the best of the situation.
Both Foster and Taylor tell me they believe the worst of it is over and that they hope what has happened doesn't deter people from visiting one day. In studio, I'm Leah Van Ostrand for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
The Senate could vote as soon as today on a war powers resolution that could force President Trump to get congressional approval for further military strikes on Iran. Yesterday, the Trump administration briefed members of Congress on the fighting. Some Democrats say that it appears the U.S. is moving closer to sending ground forces into Iran and say Congress should have oversight of any deployment. Most Republicans say Trump has acted within his authority so far.
They told us in that room that there are going to be more Americans that are going to die, that they are not in the short run going to be able to stop these drones that are going to continue to fly into the Middle East. We have to have a debate in the United States Senate on an authorization of military force.
We take out their ability to launch ballistic missiles and to produce ballistic missiles, and we downgrade their Navy. That's it. That's what we're doing. It's short in scope. It does not violate the law in any way.
Democrats in the House are pushing for a similar war powers resolution vote to take place tomorrow. The U.S. military is also now part of a new operation in Ecuador. The Pentagon says U.S. troops are conducting operations with the Latin American countries' military to target drug traffickers. The announcement is an expansion of the Trump administration's operations in South America, but the administration has not said how many U.S. forces are involved in the latest effort. So far, the U.S. has killed 151 people in strikes on what the Pentagon claims are drug boats in the Eastern Pacific and the Caribbean. Gas prices are spiking as tensions rise in the Middle East, and a key shipping route through the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. Here in Indiana, the average price at the pump is now just a little more than $3 a gallon, which is up 13 cents in just one day. Patrick DeHaan from Gas Buddy joined Daybreak yesterday to break down the impact at the pump.
20% of the world's daily supply of oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz, but it's not really flowing now. And so we're not seeing that oil being delivered into the market. And that kink in the hose, so to speak, has pushed up the price of oil. And at this point, much of Indianapolis is seeing gas prices already at $3.29 a gallon. I'm not expecting a massive spike. The next time prices could go up, it might be to $3.39, maybe $3.49. We've seen these prices before. This is not going to be an overnight spike of several days. So if you need gas, shop around. Apps like Gas Buddy, Google Maps, and Waze will show you the lowest prices. But beyond that, set aside a little bit more money to fill your tank. But I don't think we're going to be going anywhere near record prices anytime soon.
Europe's natural gas prices have now jumped by about 70% since the markets closed on Friday. Sugar, fertilizer, and soy prices have also all gone up too. Here in Indiana, detectives say a funeral home in Randolph County stole more than $500,000 from clients. Randolph County deputies say that the Wilson Shook Funeral Home stole the money from more than 60 people over multiple years. One victim, 67-year-old Kenny Marquise, tells News 8 that he was trying to pay for his own funeral arrangements. He says he has cancer and does not want his family to have to worry about the cost of cremation.
I lost approximately, I think it's between $3,500 and $4,000. And my girlfriend tried to get on that funeral home's website to get obituaries. And she seen where it was closed. So I called and checked into it with a buddy of mine, and he said, yeah, they had run off.
The State Board of Funeral and Cemetery Services has offered to pay for Markey's cremation. The owner of the funeral home, Zalo Wilson, is now booked into jail in Maine. Parents in Fishers are getting internet safety advice from police. News 8's Kat Sandoval went to the meeting last night.
At this internet safety seminar, no children are allowed, and that's because the Fishers Police Department want to empower parents with necessary tools. Tools that were asked not to show on camera to prevent kids from creating workarounds. Some of the tools include finding hidden apps and accessing secret photos on a cell phone. Police say the threat to children from online predators are very real.
But just like we wouldn't leave our doors and windows wide open at our homes, why would we do that on the internet? And that's what we're doing when we just give our kids a device with no, parental guidance.
Fishers police say talk to your kids early when it comes to internet safety. Detectives say they have victims as young as 2 years old.
Let's all think back when it was like for us to be kids ourselves. We all did something or had something that we just weren't going to reveal to our parents. And now it's so much more intensified because it's online and kids think they can hide that. So regardless of how great you think you're doing as a parent, how great you think your kids are, that potential is out there.
And it's that potential to think predators are good friends. Police say a good way to prevent this is to only accept a friend request from people you've actually met. They say another red flag is to be wary of online friends asking to move conversations to an encrypted messaging app, which can make it harder for authorities to access.
They can make themselves out to be or say anything they want that entices us to be friends with them, and then bad things happen.
Sergeant Ellis says they've been covering internet safety for 15 years. No one attended their session last August, just months before Haley Busby's disappearance. Tuesday's turnout was the largest they've seen.
So it's disheartening when we know we've done this, we've offered this. We've been doing this for 15 years, offering this kind of information and this kind of support to the community for internet safety.
If you missed this session, there will be a few more coming up. The next one will be March 11th. Reporting in Fishers, I'm Kat Sandoval with Wish TV, wishtv.com.
Big Ten basketball tournament tips off today at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis and runs through Sunday. IU plays against Nebraska at 3:30 this afternoon. Purdue takes on Oregon at 8:30 tonight. Single session tickets are available for $23.50 up to $54.45. Organizers say it just depends on the session that you're going to. In Pacers watch, Pacer star Tyrese Halliburton could be returning to the sidelines soon. Head coach Rick Carlisle says Halliburton's making progress after he was diagnosed with shingles last month. Shingles is a painful rash that people get after having chickenpox earlier in life. Carlisle says the timetable for Halliburton's return is still up in the air. Halliburton is, of course, out for the season to heal from his torn Achilles injury. And head coach says before getting shingles, he had been making a lot of progress. In Colts watch, the team has put quarterback Daniel Jones on a rarely used transition tag. That means that Jones can still negotiate with other teams, but the Colts would have to match any offer he receives if they want to keep him. If Jones can't find another offer, the Colts would give him a $37.8 million one-year contract. ESPN reports that Jones is the first quarterback to be tagged with the transition tag since at least 2000. And this has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on Wish TV and wishtv.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.